This video covers my attempt at performing an idle speed adjustment and throttle body synchronization on my Ducati Monnster 1100. Before beginning, there are several important points to address. 1. Ensure the motorcycle has a genuine Ducati ECU intake system and exhaust. My ECU is genuine, but the exhaust and airbox are modified, and I couldn't be bothered reverting it for this procedure. 2. Confirm that the throttle cable free play is correctly adjusted, as incorrect free play may interfere with the adjustment. 3. Remember that achieving the correct idle speed takes priority over perfect throttle body synchronization. 4. The CO level in the exhaust must exceed 0.4% in both cylinders after adjustment. I have no way of measuring that, so I'm just going to hope for the best. With that said, let's get started. To aid in the access to the throttle bodies, I first removed the right side oil cooler shroud. I'm trying to show the connection points on the intakes and the locations of the air bleed screws to give a better understanding. Where to connect vacuum gauges and where to make the adjustments on the throttle bodies. This is for the horizontal cylinder. If it's not obvious, this is actually pretty difficult to film. And subsequently, this is the vertical cylinder. Remove the seat to gain access to the diagnostic port. The manual specifies using the Ducati diagnostic system for this test, which I obviously don't have. I'll be making do with an old PC running JP Diag and a CarbTune Pro. Remove the hex head bolts from the intake manifolds. And yep, I dropped the washer. Found it though. Fit the brass nipples to the respective intake manifolds. Then connect the vacuum hoses to the CarbTune unit. Connect the computer to the diagnostic port and establish a connection to the ECU. This is probably a little overkill. The only thing I really need the computer for is monitoring the engine temperature, which can be done by the dashboard. The manual states that the engine temperature should be 100 degrees Celsius before any adjustments are made. Start the bike and let it idle until it reaches the required temperature. If not obvious, I have already done that. The throttle bodies were more or less perfect, and if anything, the idle was a smidge low. So I played around with the air bleed screws a bit to raise the idle slightly, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure it made any difference. The manual states that the vacuum should not exceed 270 millibar, which in this case is equivalent to 20 centimeters of mercury. 24 centimeters of mercury corresponds to about 320 millibar, which is a little high, but I feel that the synchronization and idle speed are more important, so I just left it as it is. The idle is supposed to be at 1300 RPM, and I feel like this is good enough. Return everything to its normal state. Then verify the idle and give it a couple of revs for good measure. And of course for a bit of viewing and listening pleasure. Thanks for watching, and as always, ride safe.